Hello and welcome to one more chapter with me, Kay and Alleena. So today is a book review day, and today we are reviewing Uprooted by Naomi Novik. And this is a Polish fairy tale type book based on the story of Baba Yaga and things along those lines. And it's a brand new book that came out, I think, in May, if not June. I don't know, but I believe it was May. And as with all of my book reviews, what I want you to know is that I will reveal character names and place names and sort of how characters interact, but I won't go into major spoilers. If you're the kind of person who loves to go into books completely unspoiled with no idea of any of the character names or anything like that, I would suggest you don't watch my reviews. I will talk about this in my wrap up for a quick, my rating on it and a quick synopsis that you can get off the back of the book. But for the review, if you're looking to go into the story blind, I would steer clear. That being said, I did give this book 5 out of 5, and I feel like it's one of those books that would be an embarrassment not to read. It's brand new fantasy fiction, and it's just exactly what you're looking for in a fairy tale type thing. So I'm going to go into the setting just a little bit. These people live in a fictional country that is kind of overrun by this evil forest. It's called the Wood. And inside there are dark demon type things, and this sort of curse can go wherever the pollen goes. It can corrupt food, and the forest can actually plant new heart trees into villages and swallow them whole. It can corrupt people, turn them crazy, and things like this. And so all these little villages live on the outskirts of the wood. And the person that protects them from this evil, crazy forest is the dragon, who is a wizard who lives on the edge of the forest as well. He looks out over all of the land, and he can see the river, which is called the Spindle, and all the ways that the land connects together to this, and how the wood kind of takes advantage of all of this. So we have the way that the land works. Not only do we have all these villages and small towns right near the wood and the river, there's also the capital if you go further back, and that has the king and the prince, and they're supposed to be further away from the grasp of the wood, of the evil and the madness and the corruption. So this is the sort of world that we're looking at. We are looking at peasant farmers, wizards, and kings and princes who go to war against this evil that is the wood. Okay, so I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads. 5 out of 5 stars, because like I said earlier, it would be a complete embarrassment not to read. If you are a person who loves fantasy stories, you need to read this book. This is a must-read of the year. Probably, if it were up to me, would be the best book of the year that I've read so far. And okay, it's fantastic besides that. So I'm going to go into just a little bit of a review. So the premise behind it is that the dragon has to take a girl from a village to work in his tower, and it's presumed that they're kind of just servants or whatever, and they're afraid of the fact that they get taken, because they're taken for 10 years while he works on ways to take care of the wood and to take care of the evil that's slowly encroaching into the village that he watches over. So we follow Agnieszka, and she is the protagonist and the major character, and she, at the beginning of the novel, is afraid because the dragon definitely wouldn't take her. She's kind of messy, and she doesn't really take much care when she's going through, and she's always ripping her clothes or getting stains on them, and her hair is always tangled, and she looks pretty plain compared to the one that everyone in the village thinks is going to be taken, Kasia. So we start the story where she's worrying and she's upset because Kasia is going to be taken by the dragon, so everyone assumes, and so they're preparing for the feast for when he comes to the village, because it's, a choosing year. The person who he had before left with money in her pockets and wasn't really tied to the area anymore and didn't know how to go back to that sort of life, and so she left, and it was a choosing year, and so that means that he was going to come to this particular village and pick up one of the girls in order to be a servant and to kind of understand the way that these people are tied to their land. We won't find that out until later on in the book, really, as to why they're taken. The villagers always assume the worst about why they're taken, but they are always returned, and they always say, oh, nothing happened, it was just like I had to work there type thing. So Agnieszka and Kasia are best friends. They've always been best friends. They've been neighbors, and it's impossible to even fathom that her best friend is going to be taken. However, at the feast, it's not Kasia that gets taken. Agnieszka's been worried for all the wrong reasons because she's the one that's taken. The wizard hands her a marble of flame and says, well, take it. Take this flame from my hand. And she does. And he's like, oh, great. Now I have to take you. So he takes Agnieszka without so much as a goodbye to anyone in the village. They just kind of teleport away back to his tower, and things go downhill from there. We come to find out that the reason Agnieszka is put into this tower situation, and this is a spoiler, is because she has magic. She has a natural magic, and the dragon is required to teach all people who have magic the ability to handle it. So she gets taken, and Kasia gets left behind, and she's afraid and crying and things like that. But while she's in the tower, not only does she learn magic, but she learns a different way of magic. She learns magic that the dragon can't handle. She learns that she can work well with the dragon in order to combine the two forces in order to take on the evil that is the wood. Now, the wood is something completely different. I think it's a character all of its own. So the wood is sentient, and it can set traps and play tricks, and when Agnieszka is taken and starts becoming more powerful with her magic, it sets a trap to get the dragon to go away from the tower while it attacks Agnieszka's hometown with its crazed monsters and evil corruption magic. In this way, she steals potions and proves that she's perfectly capable of handling parts of the wood. And so when the dragon comes to save her and ends up getting, hurt himself, she's able to use, magic he can't understand in order to save him. And that's when he finds out that she's able to take on more of this, fixing the wood type thing. And it all kind of comes to this sort of chaos when the wood takes Kasia. Kasia's mother sends a note to Agnieszka in the tower and says that the walkers, which are like giant stick bugs, have taken her. And so Agnieszka has to go find and retrieve Kasia, even though that means going into the wood, which nobody who's ever gone in has ever come out before. And because she was able to retrieve Kasia from the heart of the wood and heal her and take out all the corruption and bring her back with the help of the dragon, the prince comes to request their help to get the queen, who has been stuck for 20 years in the wood, out. And that's where the chaos really begins. And that's where the heart of the story is. And I'm not really going to tell you what happens. All you have to know is that because of the way the relationship between Kasia and Agnieszka and the relationship between Agnieszka and the dragon is, they're all powerful enough to save the world from the way that this wood is working. Now, like I said, the wood is a character all on its own. You think it's like the worst villain that has no sense of anything and just is evil and vengeful and just wants to take over the entire land, just wants to keep growing. But that's not exactly the case. We find out later that the wood isn't just, evil. It's sad. It's misunderstood. And there are creatures that live inside the wood that are absolutely fascinating. And I can't tell you more than that because I feel like that's the most important part of the story. The way that the wood actually exists as a separate entity, and that it was built centuries ago from creatures that just knew no other way. So I don't know. I'm not going to spoil it anymore for you guys because that is a major spoiler and I think it's really important. The story isn't just about magic and evil and fairy tales and the characters discovering what power they have. This is kind of like a wake-up call about how we're treating the environment. And I'm going to leave it at that. As you read it, it kind of parallels the fact that the earth will fight back if we keep knocking it down. So, this book, 5 out of 5. One of my favorite novels of all time, and I think it's going to be one of the best reads of the year. So any people who love the fantasy genre and who love Naomi Novik's other work, the Temeraire series, I think that's how you say it. I haven't read those yet. Now, it's not exactly, I can't say I've ever read anything exactly like it. Obviously, each story that we pick up is going to be different, but really I have no other recommendations on the top of my head that would remind me of this at all. It's very unique, and I love it very much for that. I also want to talk about the prose a little bit. The way that Naomi Novik writes is fantastic. She has such a grip on what her characters are supposed to be like. She's a master storyteller. She knows how to really like get you into the story. Like, so I could not put this book down. I was so enthralled with what was going on, and every page I wanted to know what happened next. She's really great at characterization. This is from Agnieszka's point of view, so first person, and getting inside that character's head was super important. Not only for the way that the story worked, but because of just the amazing twist towards the end about the wood, how we saw it only as this villain throughout the entire novel, but then it has a mind of its own, and it is a character in and of itself towards the end. It's just fabulous. And like I said, because I have no other recommendations that would remind me of this book at all, I think it is important to pick this one up and read it. So 5 out of 5 stars on Goodreads, and everyone should read this. Every single person who's watching this video because they were curious about this book has to go get it, pick it up right now. It would be embarrassment not to. So, yes. That being said, if you want to hear more of my rambling, hit the subscribe button below, and I will be back pretty soon with another video. Bye!